Welcome to Children's House. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. It's an essential first step in supporting your child in the transition. I'm Marcy, I'm the program director, and I look forward to connecting with each family in person to support your Montessori journey. The purpose of this video is to provide valuable information so you know how to support your child and really maximize their learning and their development. I'm actually the newbie around here. I joined last summer, and what really drew me to Harborlight was not only its vibrant and committed school community, but also the exceptional quality and the experience of the teaching staff. It's true that it takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes deep understanding and knowledge of child development and a strong foundation in Montessori philosophy. I'm really proud to lead this dedicated team. And I know that it's not just your child that's going to benefit, but you as well. So as you see, we have quite a few items to discuss today. I don't want to overwhelm you, but I do want to help you feel informed. I want you to understand the why behind some of the guidelines we have in Children's House. This will help you understand why we do what we do, and it'll help bring clarity to some of these guidelines and procedures that we're asking you to follow. Being informed will help you provide your child the confidence and certainty that they need to see from you to make a really positive transition. So preparing yourself is the best step for you to take to support your child. So we're going to start with some Montessori basics. Let's jump into it. And let's start with one of my favorite quotes from Dr. Montessori. There are many who hold as I do, that the most important part of life is not the age of university studies, but the first one, the period of age birth to age 6. For that is the time when a man's intelligence, itself his greatest implement, is being formed. But not only his intelligence, the full totality of his psychic powers. This quote highlights the importance of early childhood. It gives purpose to what I do every day. It leads us into discussing how we can help your child build a really strong foundation that sets them up for success for school. So let's define the development that we're seeking in a child so you understand the meaning behind the guidelines that you're going to hear about in this video. And as the presentation evolves, you're going to discover that in our Montessori practice, we're intentional in what we do, but equally so what we don't do to support a child. So here you see the planes of development. Dr. Montessori observed these developmental planes, and she believed that they followed a 3-year cycle. This image demonstrates that early childhood is the foundation of all the other planes to come. This is the formative period that Dr. Montessori refers to. And now current research supports what Dr. Montessori claimed so many years ago, that this is the stage when children are really building their brains. And so the Montessori approach supports this. Now we call them executive functioning skills. It refers to inhibitory control, emotional regulation, working memory, cognitive flexibility, and planning. These skills are not innate, but they can be developed in our brains. In children, we are all born with the capacity and the potential to develop these. But it's so important that this development happens and is supported during early childhood So we must provide guided and meaningful experiences to do this. Studies also show that a person's long-term success and their happiness is directly related to their ability to have these executive functioning skills, even more so than IQ or standardized testing scores or even what college they attend. So this chart here shows you, it's from the researchers at the University of Minnesota, and it shows how rapid that brain development occurs in that period of 3 to 6. It's this critical window when a child's experiences really help to form the neural connections, the neural pathways in the brain to support executive functioning skills. And it's these pathways that are built through repetition, consistency, and predictability of daily routines. And these are the cornerstones of our program. Our role is to support the development of executive function, not just through how we guide children's experiences, but also how we prepare the environment. This is where your child truly benefits from the training, the insight, and the intention of our experienced Children's House team. And while what we do is important, what we don't do is just as essential. We're careful not to interrupt a child's opportunity for growth. For example, interfering with a child tying their shoes might seem helpful, but it can actually impact a child's motivation and their independence, their will for doing it on their own. Similarly, correcting a child can actually deprive them of the joy and confidence that really comes from discovering a solution or problem solving on their own. So instead of sparking inspiration, we actually cause frustration or disappointment, and we actually are indirectly communicating to a child that you're not capable. As parents, you're also part of this learning triangle because the environment can be home or school, and the teacher can be you, the parent. One of the most difficult aspects of parenting, and I know this from experience, I have 3 children of my own. They're, of course, adults now, but I know the difficulty I had as a parent when my emotions got involved, or what my own childhood experience was that was influencing the way I was parenting. Parenting takes reflection, self-awareness, patience, and trust. You're not alone in this journey. We're here to do it and partner with you to really support your child because we want to build a strong foundation for them. And just as an arch relies on a strong foundation to stand, your child is going to be supported by these executive functioning skills that they develop, by the independence, the coordination, the concentration, and the order that is supported in the Montessori curriculum. You're going to hear me refer to these key concepts of independence, coordination, concentration, and order throughout our video because they are cornerstones for Montessori approach. And though academics do emerge at this stage, we know as educators that children need this foundation to really support them through all the stages. And if they don't develop it now, they will struggle all the more when they're out of this sensitive period for developing these skills. So let's talk about the transition into Children's House. Transitioning into a new program really brings up a lot of emotions for parents as well as children. It's excitement, it's uncertainty, it's pride, it's nervousness, and even moments of doubt. They're all natural parts of something new. This is a significant milestone for your child, but also for you. So the good news is you're doing the right thing by watching this video. and getting yourself informed because that will ease your uncertainty. Understanding routines and expectations and the developmental purpose behind our practices is going to help you feel more confident and prepared so that you can support your child. Children are highly attuned to the emotions and the cues of the adults around them. When parents approach the transition with calmness, consistency, and trust, children are more likely to develop a sense of security themselves. This doesn't mean that the transition is going to be easy, but it does mean that children benefit greatly from adults who are informed and prepared. So we hope that these guidelines provide that reassurance that you're looking for. So first, you want to support your child in establishing patterns and consistent routines. Children learn to regulate themselves through the cues we provide. They also learn through the expectations we model and the consistency we maintain. Predictable routines help children feel safe, and that sense of safety allows them to gradually build confidence, independence. When establishing new routines, parents should expect that their child is going to cry. It's difficult to experience this as a parent, but crying is developmentally appropriate. It's the way your child communicates. Your child is in a stage of learning language. They're in a sensitive period for language. So crying is a means of communication. They're often communicating, "This is new, and I feel uncertain, and I'm not sure what to expect." The crying does not necessarily mean that a child is unsafe, unhappy, or incapable of adjusting. In many cases, it's simply just part of the process for the transition. And they're learning to trust a new environment and a new routine. Children are looking to the adults around them to understand how to respond to unfamiliar situations. When parents and teachers remain calm, consistent, and confident, children internalize these feelings themselves. So brief and reassuring goodbyes communicate to your child to trust us. It allows them to begin forming trusting relationships with us too. We do recognize that every child's different, that every family's different, and so we may have to adjust our transitions a little bit to support a child. There's not a one-size-fits-all, but we want to partner with every family to support a healthy transition and to meet individual needs to help a child grow. To help you feel connected to your child's new classroom in their transition, teachers initially will share photos of your child. This will be super important too if your child is having a difficult transition or a difficult separation or cries at that drop-off time. We want to reassure you that your child's not crying all day long, that there are times when they are settling in and able to go about their day successfully without crying. Over time, we do want to be respectful of your child's development and really mindful of not having a camera on them all the time, interrupting their experiences. So we will be thoughtful and intentional about when and how we take photos in the long term. Once class placements are made, make sure that you have your child's teacher's email addresses. This is a great way to communicate with the classroom and what's happening, and to communicate any questions or concerns, things you need to tell the teacher. However, if it is something that requires immediate attention or is time sensitive, please make sure to either copy me on the email or reach out to me directly or reach out to the front office directly. Teachers are so busy during the day with their students, and their priority is giving lessons and spending time with the children. So they really only check their emails about once a day. So please make sure that you also are sensitive to this. And please know you can always request a meeting. If you have any questions or concerns, we really encourage you to reach out promptly because addressing matters early helps prevent any misunderstandings, and it really allows us to support your family effectively. Please know it takes time for a child to transition as well. Some children begin really confidently. They walk into school independently. There's no tears. But then after about 2 or 3 weeks, the tears start to come and they start um, questioning, like, how long is this going to take? Or how long am I going to be here? That's completely normal. Again, we're trying to help children understand. So sometimes the tears are just a way for them to say, please help me understand. How long do I stay at school? And what does this look like long term? Your child's learning begins the moment they arrive at school. And that starts with how to say goodbye and how to start their day with independence. This small but significant moment of separation is often harder for the parents than it is for the children because we're emotionally attached. It's hard to hear our child cry. It's easy to unintentionally also pass along our hesitation and our guilt and our feelings of worry. Children pick up on that energy, and it can make the separation feel harder than it has to be. And when you let your emotions dominate this moment, sometimes a parent will fall into patterns of bargaining or bribing or stretching out the goodbye. And they hope that this eases the transition, but it actually does quite the opposite because those responses are actually sending a confusing message to your child. Unintentionally, they're saying, I'm concerned and I don't think this is the right thing to be doing, and I don't think you can do it. We want to avoid that, and we want to avoid power struggles and games. Some children arrive as early as 7:30 when our doors open, but we do ask that all children in all programs arrive at least between 8:30 and 8:45 because by then our class learning is really in progress. Some classrooms even have recess that early or even specials or special activities that start that soon. So please make sure your child arrives to school on time. Here are a couple other tips for a successful arrival. Remember, you are part of the child's learning triangle and you are supporting your child in their development. So we want you to come into it with confidence and as a teacher in teaching your child how to make healthy separations. You might want to start preparing your child gently as you approach the school and let them know the expectations. When we get to school, I'm going to give you a hug and I'm going to say goodbye. I'll be thinking about you all day, but I'm saving the rest of my hugs for you when I pick you up. Then keep your goodbyes brief and warm as you stated you would. Encourage your child to walk into school independently with the help of a Harborlight staff member. And if the crying starts, please stay calm and consistent. You could say, I know this is hard. We're going to talk more about your feelings when I see you later. Right now it's time to start school. I love you. I'll see you soon. This approach feels difficult and it might even seem harsh at first, but what it actually communicates is trust. Trust in your child's ability to adapt and trust in our team to support your child. Hesitation communicates doubt. It sends the message you're uncertain of the child's readiness, and you don't want to do that. So let your goodbye be loving but confident. You want your child to feel like you're communicating, you've got this, and I believe in you. And keep your arrival times consistent because this will help with your child's self-regulation and with them understanding expectations. Children orient themselves to patterns and routines. They don't have a strong sense of a clock or reading a clock, so they rely on patterns and predictability. All students will utilize the main entrance, even those CH7 students that may be close to the elementary entrance, but we want to make sure that all of our students in Children's House have that learning opportunity to walk into school and walk to their classroom independently. Another way that you're supporting your child is dressing them for success. You want to support independence, coordination, concentration, and order. The way you do this through dressing them is by making sure that they have clothing they can put on and off independently. So it's best to avoid fasteners or belts that are tricky, excessive buttons that they struggle with. You also want to make sure that you avoid accessories that are very distracting, if not to them, then to the other children. We're teaching the children respectful boundaries. When a child has something that's sparkly and shiny, it's hard for a child to resist touching it. So you want to make sure, do not send your children with accessories that are distracting within the environment. And please do not send any valuables. Again, these are meant for at home and they do not belong at school. Also, clothing with characters or fantasy themes, like princess skirts or superhero shirts, can shift your child's mindset away from purposeful, real-world work that's happening at school. These items are better saved for the weekends or playtime at home. In fact, it's helpful to keep school clothes in a designated space at home separate from play clothes. Categorizing clothing will help your child be successful in choosing their clothing and being independent with getting dressed in the morning. And then holding the boundaries of what is worn at school versus what can be used for play is super important to avoid power struggles in the morning. You also want to choose footwear that's going to support their coordination. Children are in a developing sense of their bodies and their self-awareness and developing their coordination. So you want to make sure to avoid loose-fitting shoes that lead to them tripping or injury on the playground. So flip-flops or Crocs, although they're easy to slip on, are not good choices for playground play. We ask the same of their indoor shoes. They will have a pair of indoor shoes that they change into from their outdoor shoes. Indoor shoes will be kept at school, but we ask that they're slip-on, but that they have a nice grippy, firm sole for them to avoid slipping indoors. And please, please make sure you label everything. There are up to 20 children in a classroom, and they're all working hard to build their sense of order and their memory. And sometimes they generally forget what belongs to them, particularly in the sea of everybody's items. So a black Sharpie is super important for parents. Please make sure you're labeling items because our lost and found fills up so quickly and there's so many expensive items. And I know it's expensive for families to have to replace them. So please save yourself time, stress, and money and label, label, label. We discussed some things to bring, but let's kind of review as well as make sure we're covering all aspects. Because children are going to be working on food prep, they're going to be working on toileting, they're going to be pouring water, they're going to have accidents, and they're going to need the capacity to change their clothing. So please make sure you send at least 2 pair of full clothing. This includes undergarments, socks. You might even want an extra pair of shoes for children, particularly if they're toileting. Also, include a wet bag for any soiled items so that they can be returned home, washed, and returned the next day. If your child is toileting, 2 changes of clothing might not be enough, and we ask that you send more. Again, we want to be able to support your child throughout the day and have all the supplies we need to help them in their learning as they sometimes learn through failure, as we all do. I mentioned indoor shoes. Again, please make sure that they have a nice supportive bottom. And we prefer when you don't have any light up shoes because these can be really distracting in the environment. If your child stays for lunch, please pack lunch in a lunchbox with a small freezer pack to keep it fresh. We do encourage trash-free lunches. A bento box is great because you can open all items and throw the wrappers away yourself and keep items easy for your child to access. It's just the one container to open because there's a lot of activity that goes on at lunch and it's a lot of information for your child to process. Keep it simple to support them in being able to be independent at school. We also ask that you avoid sending desserts or candy. Children are developing their inhibitory control, and so if treats are present, they typically go for this first. So help them be successful by just keeping those items at home so that you can help create the messaging around nutritional eating and when to eat these items. We do recommend when you pack items that they're all prepared. So if grapes or like cherry tomatoes need to be cut up to avoid a choking hazard, please do this at home. We also are a nut-free environment. So to support students in the environment with allergies, please read labels very carefully. We do have microwaves in each classroom. We can't prepare or assemble food, but we can do quick warm-ups. Children will simply transfer the items that need to be warmed up to a plate, and those will go into the microwave. All children that are not kindergarten should bring nap items to school. This includes a crib sheet and a small blanket. We store the items in a sweater-sized storage container. So please make sure they're not too bulky because we keep them separate from each other by storing them in a plastic container labeled with your child's name. The items will be sent home every Friday for laundering, and then please return them every Monday or at the first day of the week of school. And let's talk about rest time and nap time, because in a classroom of children that are ages 3 to 6, there's a variety of needs. Not all children sleep at this stage, but what all children at this stage are working on is some self-regulation and some self-calming skills. Therefore, it's important for you to discuss with your child's teacher if they nap regularly or not at home, because we want to make sure to support what their patterns are, and we want to make sure they're getting a good night's sleep. So our kindergarten students are preparing for elementary. They are no longer laying down on a nap mat. Instead, they're having a quiet time at a table, which involves either a quiet activity or looking at a book. But all other children are resting on a mat. They are not necessarily sleeping. Again, that's being communicated by you in terms of what their current patterns and their needs are. But all children have a quiet period. If they don't sleep, they just have that 30-minute rest period, and then they put their items away and continue on in their work time in the afternoon. Children's needs for nap or rest will change also throughout the year based on their own growth and development. So please make sure that you can continue to keep informed with us and stay in communication. And our teachers will do the same with what they're observing of your child in the classroom and what their needs may be at school. There's a morning snack that all the children have, and then the afternoon snack is for those children that stay for the extended day past the 3 o'clock pickup. So each day there's a snack provided by a student, and a monthly calendar will assign what snack day each family has. These snack calendars will be posted in the bulletin board for the classrooms in the student management system. And they will also be included in my Sunday emails at the end of the month to start the new month. We do love keeping a fruit bowl in each classroom that's available to the children throughout the day, which might include clementines, bananas, or apples, just easy whole fruit that the children can either peel themselves or cut and prepare themselves. If there is a specific student allergy in the classroom to make families aware of, teachers will include this as a reminder on their monthly snack calendars and make families aware. And food prep is always a very important aspect of a Montessori classroom. So there is additionally food prep prepare in the classroom, but we also love when parents coordinate food prep with the monthly snack or their snack for the month. However, please be aware if there is preparation for your child, they should either arrive a little early or at least on time to get the snack ready. We even recommend you coordinating with the your child's teachers to send the snack the day before, because maybe there's some of the preparations they can do ahead of time at school the day before, so that snack's ready on time. So we covered a little bit of what to bring, but let me just address a little further what not to bring, because I did mention that what we don't do is equally as important as what we do to support children. So bringing unnecessary items makes it really difficult for your child at school, and you want to set them up for success. So leaving toys and trinkets or small objects, though it feels like a security item for your child, it actually makes it more difficult for them at school. We want them to develop good, healthy skills um, and self-regulation. And so leaving those items at home is really important. This is what I recommend, and this is what I did with my own children, is I had a school basket near the door. You could also keep yours in your car, but you want a place for children to put their items that they consider valuable or their little treasures to be keep somewhere safe for when they go into school. And make it your child's responsibility to place these items here because it gives them a sense of agency and it honors that rule that toys stay at home. That way the items are there waiting for them when they return. The one exception is to send a family photo, either something in a small frame that's like 4x6 or photos that they can tape up in their cubby because I know I like having photos of my family around my workspace. And many children also find comfort in having these photos nearby as they navigate their school day. So our final topic is communications. So important. It's so important in that partnership that we form with you. So you want to make sure that you're seeing all notifications, particularly if you're new to the student management system. You want to make sure that your settings are appropriately set so that you see emails and information coming from the school. I will be sending a weekly email every Sunday. It's going to give you information of events coming up. It's going to give you links to RSVP to any events or things that might require such. And it's going to let you know what's happening in the classroom. So you want to make sure that you're seeing those emails to stay connected. Also, periodically, teachers will be emailing photos of maybe milestones happening in the classroom or current developments going on. So you want to make sure that you are checking emails regularly and that nothing is going to your spam or your junk accounts. There's also going to be opportunities to connect. Like I said, there'll be various events, parent education opportunities, conferences. We really want you to connect with us to stay informed and partner with us in your child's development. So I thank you for your time. I'm looking forward to getting this journey started with you. On behalf of the Children's House team, welcome, and we're looking forward to you joining us. Thank you.